and this is how it connects us.
私たちをつなぐ
We believe in helping people find a way to get things done. We call this Africanacity.
And welcome to Real Estate with Neltah, where we're discussing property issues that affect you as a Motswana in Botswana. Joining me in studio today, we have Nametso Maikano, who is from Maison Properties, which is a real estate firm that's operating in Botswana and specializes in offshore investments. Welcome to the show, Mama Maikano. It's such a pleasure to have you.
Thank you for having me, Neltah.
Offshore investments.
Okay, offshore investments are basically similar to your local investments. So anything that you look at as an investment in Botswana, your property investments in apartments, your homestead, etc. But instead, you're now having it in a different locality or in a different country. That's basically the core of what a definition of an offshore investment means. So you're having it, most people will look at it and have it as a safe haven where they don't have to incur tax, or they could be avoiding taxes as opposed legally avoiding. Yes. Okay, because the evasion of taxes is the illegal one. Yeah. So people always look at offshore investments for that particular purpose. So you will look at investing in property or any other investment in a country that you can see that it has the tax benefits for you.
So are really offshore investments and investing what is the difference and what are the pros and cons of investing offshore?
Okay, so for instance, in Botswana currently we're having a bit of a crunch, or we're feeling the crunch in terms of financial institutions not being able to give us as much financing as we'd like to invest.
And I think it's also because our disposable income is so low.
Exactly.
That will enable you to invest in something that's worthwhile.
Exactly. So there are certain countries that will allow for an investor who's got you can come in as an investor, be able to have enough disposable income and still be able to get a mortgage in a different country, a country that's not of your origin. So that is something that you can actually take advantage of as a Motswana or as any other person investing offshore. Otherwise, if you see that you don't have as much at your disposal in terms of income, you then can be able to pull in. I've helped a couple of people, pull in funds together to make sure that they can actually
invest in property outside of the country. So if we're looking at offshore investments, how can one go about investing in offshore? You don't necessarily have to have a lot of money. Yes. So say I'm earning 5,000 pula. How can I invest offshore but with a low income? Because offshore, you'd think you need to have millions and millions to invest. How can you do it as someone who doesn't have as much income as the rich people and the wealthy people?
Basically, it will come back to the Motselo element, because you see, in as much as most of our products, the product that will give you as an option overseas to invest in, will not necessarily require you to pay all the money up front. You'll have a payment plan to be able to, pay off the investment that you're buying into. Right. Say 3 years of the construction period and into some of the period that you'll have and be able to use the property to rent it out to other people and earn income from it.
Right. So can you earn the income before you're finished completing?
Correct. It depends on which developer. You see, I will have this conversation with you as an individual and say to you, so this is what you're looking at. This is how much you can have as disposable income. This is then what you'll be able to tap into. This is the investment, or there's a developer that's ideal for you, because we don't only just deal with one developer in Dubai. We have more than plethora of options for you. Yes. Yeah. So So we will, the bulk that I like to use with our developers is the ones that give us Botswana or Africans at large the opportunity to own freehold, which means
freehold again.
A freehold. Freehold is technically where you own the land and not just the building on it. It does not have a lease period. It does not have a period in which it will go back to the government.
So ga go tlhokane le disagreement
the land board issues, so no.
So ga re bua ka mothelo cause ne ke batla gore tlhalosetse Batswana go gae, and it should be relatable to everyone of different income. If we have a group of say 5 Batswana who are earning say between 5 and 10, how can they come together? Go form a company as individuals. What are the requirements?
Okay, so there are 2 things that are possible right now. All right, one is that you are able to then come as a consortium or as a mothelo or as a company, however you want to group yourself.
So company register in Botswana.
You will register in Botswana. When you register it in Botswana, because it will protect your interests here, you will register your company here with your 5 or 3 other people. You register it here, we counter-register it in Dubai.
Right.
You're protected both here in Botswana, you're protected also in Dubai by the laws there. Do you understand?
Yes.
So then you're able to then buy investments, they stay there, you have an account in Dubai, you earn your money in dirhams, which is the currency of Dubai, and you're able to then use it however you want to use it here or anywhere in the world.
Right.
Because that's one of the advantages of actually investing in Dubai or offshore, for instance, is that with Dubai specifically, you are not going to be asked, how did you get this money or how are you going to spend this money?
But wouldn't that also put Botswana in a position of laundering money in a foreign country?
This is why I always prefer people to open the account or open the company here first, because of our laws here in Botswana will ensure that there is nothing of that sort that is happening. We will always have a situation where the money it is vetted, what is the sources and where is it going. If you're saying you're going to purchase a property in Dubai, you will then be given an escrow account. We will give you an escrow account that you're taking that money to. An escrow account basically means a government account with the particular developer that you're buying from.
Right.
That means then you're not money laundering. It's from one government to another, knowing exactly what is going on with that money.
Right.
From there, that's when because it's a tax haven, not because they're encouraging
money laundering.
They're not encouraging that. It's because it's a tax haven, you are allowed at liberty to spend your money however you would like to spend it.
So before we go for a quick commercial break, maybe just explain to us what the advantages of investing offshore are rather. You have made mention of Dubai being a tax haven. What are the other advantages in comparison to investing Mogai?
Okay, so one of the things, and I've been to Dubai a couple of times, I wanted to make sure that this is very true.
Right.
One of the things that I've seen that you always have with a tax haven, if you look at and study the tax havens across the board, you'll find that there's always the same thing in essence.
Which is?
The political stability, economic stability, your tax advantages. So there's minimal to no taxes in that particular country. Your safety, your personal and, personal safety within the vicinity of wherever you're living. You can literally within Dubai walk around with your phone.
It's safe.
And it's safe. You can park your car in the garage, in the filling station, have the key still in the ignition. You don't have to worry about anything. Exactly. Yeah. So that's one of the things that are always the most important thing for people who want to invest and be able to have the option of being, having peace of mind in the future, whether it's for retirement purposes or for raising their families, etc. So yes.
And in terms of the, just one last question before we go for the break, in terms of the types of property, commercial, residential, hospitality, agriculture, we have industrial. Which one would you recommend for offshore?
Okay.
Which we'll talk about after the break. Which type of property would you encourage Botswana to look at by investor offshore?
Because you're not investing in a country that you know a lot about. you want to choose, and I always recommend people choose the one element or the one sector within the property, sectors or options, which is residential, because it's the safest. You know, it's the safest because everybody's going to come in and need accommodation.
Would we say multi-residential is
multi-residential apartments, your short-term or long-term self-catering, etc., hostels, as long as it's to do with boroko or residential, then we're good to go.
Great. Thank you so much, Nametso Maikano. We'll be back after the break where we'll be talking about protecting yourself as a Motswana, because we have a lot of cases of fraudulent behavior, as well as the countries that you can look at to get the best off of your offshore investment. Stay tuned. Welcome back to Real Estate with Neltah Motswana. I'm joined in studio by Nametso Maikano, who is the MD of Maison Properties, which is a real estate company that specializes in offshore investments by Botswana. Maikano, before we went for the break, neribuaka anti money laundering muka sola ka buang gore ke go tlhatswa madi a borukhutlhi. Go nyo ka re bolala gore Motswana o ka tlhatswa madi yang, and how we can prevent that.
Okay. So now people use, especially real estate, it's the most hardly hit industry worldwide for money laundering, for washing money, for cleaning money that you have gotten in different ways that were illegal in whatever country it is. And now the most important thing that we will always do is ensure that we have vetted. Obviously, we know all the procedures that we have in every single financial institution. Right. We'll vet exactly where the source of the money is. Do you understand? We have our form, our KYC,
and
our
that's
background check.
By the government.
Exactly. Yeah. We do all the KYC. We ensure we know where the source of the income is before we can actually take you on. Because what we're doing is we're providing a service to protect Botswana as well as the government of Botswana. We don't want a situation where now we're helping somebody who's cleaning money here to go and place money in another country, because that relationship is also then severed between the country Botswana as well as
it does affect our image as Botswana.
Exactly.
So me ga re lebile gone go tlhatswa madi ga motho a ka tla go lona ke tshotse 3 million, and after your vetting process you realize that this money was illegally obtained.
Yes.
what steps do you take? Do you contact the relevant authorities? Kana la chaisa here.
We have got chaser. This is, we always have to declare with fear. This is what we think.
Financial intelligence agency.
So we will always let them know this is what we've encountered before we even suspect of anything, before we even go too deep into investigating. We have to stipulate this is what we're going into. This is the deal we're going into. We are about to close a deal of this much. This is how it's, how the person is going to source their income. This is what the documents that we've been given. This is, how much our commission, all of that, the whole procedure. And once we've done that, they're aware. They will obviously do their checks as well. Once we've identified what this money was now obtained legally, we then we part our ways. We notify exactly. This is where we stopped.
So when you clarify the guides money that has been obtained illegally, from your experience as a real estate professional, I'm sure you've had 1 or 2 incidences whereby people came to you by invest someone didn't acquire it through the legal ways. What are some of the ways that people have obtained money illegally?
Sometimes the one thing that I always want to do is I want to keep ourselves clean of even the thought process of going into the mind of the person who's doing that. The moment somebody comes to you with a suitcase of money, people who are claiming money, cash are normally
it's not usually bank transfers.
Exactly. I'll ask them, please, can you give us a check rather, or
can I deposit?
Exactly. So you then are going to deal with the bank as to how you got that money, because you have to explain to the bank exactly. I know there are people who have dealt in drugs and all of that.
Corruption also.
Corruption, getting money from for gains of power in different ways. So yes, we just always ask them to please just follow our exactly.
Now let's talk about fraudulent middlemen.
Okay.
We have situations whereby we've had companies come into Botswana, invest madi a lona offshore. What do you have any experiences with such middlemen, such companies? And what should Motswana be aware of? The red flag
and this is, thank you very much for that question, because that question stems even at the core of our local market.
Right.
When you have somebody providing you with the service, estate agency. If somebody says that to you, they need to be able to prove they are associated or affiliated with a particular governing body.
Right.
TC.
Real estate advisory council.
Exactly. If they cannot provide you with that particular proof, as a local broker, you're not dealing with the right people, and you run the risk of being swindled. So it's up to you at that point to say, please show me the proof that you are.
And do your due diligence.
Exactly. Yeah. Now, when it comes to now investing offshore, first and foremost, no broker from international markets is allowed to broker within the Botswana market without a local partner.
Okay.
That is your first red flag.
Without a local partner.
Exactly.
Okay.
How when also now a representative for you here within Botswana, then you're already in trouble, because there are very high chances that you will be swindled, or your money will end up in the wrong places. So so now what we will do is, or what has happened, there was a time, and I'll give an example. We had a roadshow where we were familiarizing Botswana with
raising awareness
about Dubai. And the company that we brought initially here then brought themselves again later.
Without you.
Without notifying us that they're coming into the country. And at that point, now, because they had already, because I got about to banzalo, and there was a very, and I remember there was a very short period where at that point RIB had told them, you need to stop your event. And then, fortunately certain circumstances came in that helped, but the most important thing is you need to ask them who their local partner is, because otherwise, if you don't have somebody responsible to you here, how it's gonna go Dubai? Are you going to
right? And that's very important because I can easily go to them. I can notify the authorities to let them know
exactly. And then the other thing is, the one most important thing that I've noticed is that because we don't, you will not know as Neltah, or okay, go Dubai. A developer needs to have an escrow account. An escrow account kind of protects you as an investor.
So as escrow account,
it's an account with the bank, it's an account with the government. The government keeps that money with them for the development. So let's say Maison is developing on behalf of international investors. My money that I'm investing into Maison stays with the government until I've finished the development and I can now give out. So basically, I draw from, it's drawings from that particular account with the government to feed into the investment or into the development, and then I can give you the project. It just secures to make it protects to make sure that the development actually finishes and everybody's money actually went to what it said it was supposed to be for. Not all developers have that.
Because there are incidences where developer and then there is no investment that actually takes place.
Exactly. And sometimes what happens is they may have an escrow account and be in good standing with the government of Dubai or any other government, and still not give you the account, the escrow account. They can give you the company account, and you take money directly. It may or may not be used for the purposes that you have been told about.
Right. Yes. This is very informative, and I think it's very important for Batswana which which countries are hot in the market as it currently stands. Investor offshore. Which countries should I first have a look at? Because you already mentioned Dubai. I'm sure there are other countries that you would recommend. Which ones are they and why?
Okay, so I will always tell people, we as Maison give you an investment opportunity as well as a lifestyle enhancement in essence. So now what we do is we over and above property investments offshore. We've also coupled up with a company that assists us in immigration. So you will get your golden visa and your citizenship to Canada.
What's a golden visa?
So a golden visa is being able to go anywhere within Europe.
Okay. Now forgive visa when now apply that visa to different countries.
Exactly. And all the countries that will be allowable by that golden visa for you to be able to travel.
Right.
So that particular immigration service or the permanent residency is always 90% of our programs is through real estate. Okay, so we are still real estate company, ensuring that you're able to then live, because with Dubai you cannot live for life there. You get a visa for 10 years, renewable every 2 years, just to make sure you're still in good standing. With Canada, for instance, it's citizenship, so you've got that for life. But remember that Botswana does not allow for dual citizenship. Exactly.
At the current standing.
Exactly. And then you also obviously have the golden visa through Portugal, Malta, Cyprus. And Greece.
Unfortunately, we have to wrap it up. Just before we say goodbye to our viewers, maybe you can just tell them where they can find you.
Okay. Thank you so much. You can get me on YouTube. I have a YouTube page called Nametso Maikano. But you can also visit our website, www.maisonprop.com. We have all our contacts on there. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for joining me in studio. It's been an absolute pleasure. Unfortunately, we have to say goodbye. I trust that you have enjoyed our show today and have learned a lot about offshore investments. See you next time on Real Estate with Neltah.
And this is how it connects us.
私たちをつなぐ。
We believe in helping people find a way to get things done. We call this Africanacity.
The long-awaited Botswana Human Resource Development Skills Fair and Clinics is back again, and we are going countrywide again. Join us in Francistown from the 26th to the 28th February and in Maun from the 3rd to the 4th March. Come and talk to industry experts, education and training institutions about different careers at BHRDS 2020. Gates open from 8 a.m. and entrance is free. Human Resource Development Council. Our people, our future.